Okay, let's start. 2, 3, 1. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. Today we've got a nice topic, especially it's close to my heart, and I've been through this as well for a life stage. It's about all about buying a property, first-time buyers, and what do you actually need for that process. Today we've got someone that's actually a specialist in the field, Olen, and I would like to welcome you. Thank you for being on the show, and tell us a bit more about what do bond originators do, a brief history of what you actually do, and where you come from.
Thank you, JP, for having me on your show today. I really appreciate it. I think that this is a very good platform to empower people with the knowledge they need and the tools they need to go out when first venturing into the property market. So just a bit about myself. I've been in the bond origination industry for about 18 years now in total. I first worked for a bank as a home loan consultant, and then I started to see, oh, wait a minute, working for a bank is quite limiting to offering the clients the very best that there is out there. We were quite limited with just that bank's option. And so we saw an opportunity that I needed to actually take the skills that I learned from the specific bank and then go into bond origination that is a broader scope of products that I can provide clients with and give value to the clients, because I felt quite restricted just being, employed by one bank. And so, I've been in the industry for that long, and it's been exciting just seeing people's dreams come to reality and seeing how I can play a very important role in that, to making sure that, the most expensive investment you'll ever make in your lifetime can be given to you at an affordable price. And I think that's the role that I love playing, and that's basically what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I think besides getting married, buying your first home, it's a massive step, and it's an exciting moment in your life.
It is.
For most of the guys, it's one of those pinnacle points where you always dreamt of, to walk in that first home that you bought.
Absolutely, so exciting, very pinnacle point. Very good pinnacle point.
So tell us a bit about bond originators. What do they do? Where do they fall in the process of actually buying a home?
Very good question. So bond originators essentially are an intermediary between the bank or the various banks and yourself as the home buyer. We make sure that the information that you can provide to the bank is highlighted in the best manner possible, and we negotiate for the best interest rates on your behalf with the various banks. So that's the role we play. That's sort of where we fit in. And bond originators should actually be the first point of call for clients that are looking to purchase property and gain a very good outcome, a very healthy outcome, and as well as a very affordable outcome for themselves. So that's sort of where we would fit into the whole property market, I would say, is that we are the go-between between the client's application and the banks, and we make that process very pleasant, very wholesome. We take the stress and the anxiety out of it all, because it can be such a daunting experience. And you're thinking, the bank, it's a huge vault of money that I need to unlock, and here's somebody that can help me tackle the challenges or the jargon that comes with it all. In the waiting of it all, we are there to assure you as the buyer that everything is running smoothly. We actually give you an inside scope as to what's happening behind the scenes, because many times people apply and it goes into a black hole your information, and then it's like a 2-week waiting game, and you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and it's so nice to have somebody, and it's so valuable to have somebody that's really in your corner, and coming to you and saying, JP, this is what's happening at this stage, updating you constantly. If there's more information that we could use to garner a better option for you, someone is not withholding that information from you, or someone's being completely open and transparent with you and saying the interest rate that we're getting, I don't think that's a good one, and being upfront with me and saying, let's go back to the drawing board and get you a better. So, just having that person in your corner, having somebody that's giving you the inside story of what's happening behind the scenes, I think is really where we fit into this whole beautiful process.
Yeah, I think the key factor is, as you mentioned, is taking that stress out. Because it's a busy time in your life. It's getting all the paperwork. It's getting your hopes up for that big property, big dream, and it's a key factor that you guys can say, listen, don't worry, we've got your back, and we'll drive the process. I didn't write that question down, but what is a typical time for a bond originator to go, listen, we've got the approval and you've got the home?
So from the time that I receive all the paperwork, the signed offer, and everything I need to validate that application on the bank's platforms that I work with, it takes typically at the moment between, I would say, 3 business to 5 business days. It's quite quick at the moment because it's so automated, and the banks sometimes they actually do desktop valuations where they don't go out and physically value the property. So it's quite quick. It also depends on what kind of application it is in the sense of self-employed versus full-time employed. So those documentation requirements differentiate on and impact timelines. But typically 3 to 5 business days. It could stretch to a little, like an extra 2 business days if it's a more complex matter.
That's interesting. It's actually very quick. I didn't realize it's that fast. So let's go. I've seen the house. I would like to buy it. What do I need? Paperwork wise, what should a first-time home buyer actually have in place before trying to apply?
I think very importantly, JP, the thing that you would need before applying for that home loan is a pre-approval. That would set the tone of the application in terms of what you can expect to get in terms of your loan to value percentage. Am I able to get a full home loan approval? Do I need a deposit? What am I looking at here? What are my costs? You're well prepared in that case. So first and foremost is your pre-approval. The documentation is pretty much the same as a full formal home loan application. So it would be your pay slips if you're a salaried employer, your bank statements, proof of income. If you're an international client, a copy of your employment contract, very important. We'll walk you through all of this in a consultation that we hold with ourselves, and then the forms that we send you to complete. Those are the basic requirements needed for a straightforward application. If it's self-employed, a little bit more detail, financial statements. I know, I'm sorry, we have to ask for everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Process. It's understandable.
Yeah, it's a lot of documents. But you know what? It aids you in getting the best outcome. The documents are the key thing to being fully prepared for an optimal outcome for that home loan application. So once we get those documents, we'll then proceed with the official application. The banks will then vet it. They'll score it. The first thing that gets done is your credit score check, very important. And then we get the initial approval in principle back, and then it's the valuation, and then it's the final grant. Which we send you all the final grants, which is quite nice. It's exciting because you get all these options on the table. You're spoiled for choice when you're using a bond originator, and then we present you with all those offers at that process, at the end of that process.
Perfect. I like the independency that you're not preferring one side. It's a best rate, best offer wins at the end of the day.
That's it.
Which is beneficial to the client.
100%. We always work in the best interest of the client, and that's, without a doubt, that is at the forefront of what we do.
You mentioned the credit score. What big effect does that have on the applying for the home loan?
Huge. I will just say it's colossal. So it's the first and foremost thing that gets done when we submit our applications to the bank. That profile is immediately checked on the credit bureau when we submit. So the credit score, the minimum empirical score is 680. If you have no accounts, it will impact, like for instance, you don't have a bad credit record. You just don't have one. You just haven't opened up a cell phone account, a clothing account, a credit card, anything. Vehicle, nothing. You sort of like squeaky clean, they call it. But it's a bit of a catch-22. You need to have debt in order to get the home loan approval. And if you have no credit footprint, it's difficult for us to secure a very good interest rate because the bank is sort of flying blind. They're not sure how is this person going to repay because there's no history. So the history is vital for me going out to the bank and saying, this client's good for it. You can, be assured that your repayments are going to be made on this facility. And so therefore, we need a very good interest rate here. So it's difficult for me to negotiate for the best possible lowest rate below prime if there's no credit record. We can override a low score if it's due to just having very little history. We can override that. Factors such as the type of employment, the type of income we're looking at, how long you've been working with your employer for, your qualification. So sometimes there's people that have just graduated, they don't have any credit, but that will set us up to then, override the fact that there's no credit profile.
Like doctors, for example.
Exactly, lawyers, accountants, doctors, medical professionals,
Good.
Definitely.
Good. So you mentioned the pre-approval process. I've mentioned the approval. What's the steps? How does it actually work? What's the stages as the home loan finally goes, you've got it?
The stages, okay, that's a really good question. So the first stage would be pre-approval. That is getting in touch with a bond originator, preferably, because like we just unpacked, we are going to give you the whole, holistic offering, from all the banks, and you're not paying extra for it. So get in touch with the bond originator, have them get you your pre-approval. That's the first stage. That's your passport to purchase.
Okay.
When we issue you that certificate, you can go out there and confidently shop. The estate agents, the sellers will take you seriously because they're thinking, oh, this person's prepared. I'm not going to take a high risk by signing that offer and giving you 21 days to secure your approval because guess what? You've done your homework. You're prepared. So that's the great value add on that pre-approval. Second to that, you go out shopping. Very exciting stuff. You go and view, in your neighborhood of choice. You shortlist the properties within the budget that you've now outlined on your pre-approval. Okay, you've shortlisted some properties. You've had the family come and view with you. And, if your spouse or partner, they're saying, yes, let's go. You sign the offer to purchase. What's nice about our service, JP, is that we help clients review that offer to purchase before they go and submit it to the estate agent and seller. So that's also something that you can ask your bond originator if they're able to assist with, just to review that everything looks on the up and up. Then submitting the offer, the seller accepts it, signs, sends you the signed copy. That's when we can now officially go forward on the formal application. We submit your formal application, and within 3 to 5 days, we will secure those various options for you. We will then go back to the drawing board because let's say, for example, I've sent you some offers. You've got a great rate, but you prefer not to go with a different bank. You just prefer it. It's just your prerequisite, and we lean on the client's preferences. And let's just say, okay, this is the case, I will then take the best option on the table and approach that bank of your preferred choice to say, let's, relook at this rate. The client is really preferring you to be the bank of choice. We then come back to you 99% with the better offer with the preferred bank. We also offer arrangement on negotiation on discounts with the attorneys up to 50%.
Okay.
So that's something nice that we offer.
That could be a lot.
Yes. On average right now it's like 15,000 Rand just off the get-go. So then we do that, and then once you've accepted the preferred option, we then advise our liaison at the bank, particularly they allocate the bond attorney who we've now negotiated that 50% with, and they then get in touch with you to begin the conveyancing process of the registration and the transferring and things like that.
Sure, it's quite a lot. Especially, I think the clients don't see it. It's in the background, and if you realize actually what's going on, there's someone needed to run that and drive that. But luckily, we've got you guys.
Yay!
So the next question is regarding the deposits.
Yes.
Many people, when they're trying to buy a home, there's always about how much do I need to save for a deposit. Let's talk specifically now first-time home buyers.
Okay.
Do they need a deposit? What do they need? How much do they need in this type of environment and market where we're at now?
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like?
The short answer is you don't require a deposit as a first-time buyer, which means the banks are actually very much for stimulating the market and getting first-time buyers involved and having them buy property. And so what that means is we are currently at this present time securing 100 to 110% bond approvals, which includes the deposit, covers that, includes your attorney transfer fees and bond registration costs. So typically at the moment, first-time buyers don't necessarily need to have a deposit. However, it's very important to go through a pre-approval process to just determine that you are meeting that minimum criteria for the banks to say, yes, I approve this client specifically for the 110% offering or the 100% offering, because there is certain terms and conditions that have to be met, and that's where we come in to just determine if that is the eligibility for that particular application. And then in that pre-approval, if there is a deposit required, typically 10% is the starting point, and you'll have to cover your attorney fees as well.
Okay, perfect. So you mentioned previously that you guys go back to the banks. And I don't think the clients actually realize you can go back, and it's not like buying let's say for example a car. The price is the price. With the banks you can negotiate. Tell us a bit more. I know we're going a bit more off topic, but a bit more, how does that happen? How much can you actually negotiate with the banks?
Very good question, JP. And this is, I think, what really brings bond origination to the forefront of a home purchase, is the difference in securing a direct channel rate and securing an MO channel rate. Just to give you an example of a recent case that I've dealt with, this client is a premium client at one of the major banks. I'm not going to mention any because all the banks have their strengths.
Correct.
Okay. But yes, specifically she's a premium client. She had 50% deposit to put in.
Oh, wow.
Very big deposit. I mean, the interest rate should have been top quality in terms of this kind of profile that we're looking at. The rate that came back was about not even 1% below the prime marker. The bank that I approached outside of her primary bank came in with double that, 2% below prime.
Wow.
And she's not a staff member. So it just goes to show the vast difference. I mean, a 1% saving, that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That is like a good dinner every month in your pocket, or something. Or you can even, you know, save it towards paying that bond off in half the time.
Correct.
You know, phenomenal savings that we are able to bring to the table for clients. So it can range, you know, from 25 basis points, which is still a decent saving, on average like 300 Rand, 500 Rand a month, to a 1% saving. You know, it really is phenomenal, the kind of scope that we're able to bring to the table.
I think the big thing there is, don't just accept what's getting actually being approved and that rate. Just shop a bit more and say, listen, maybe there's something better out there.
Absolutely.
I know it's an emotional decision, especially with you excited to buy that home, that property, but rather take a step back and just say, wait a minute, let's check what else is out there.
100%. Always ask to check and go back. Is this the absolute best? I mean, I've gone back, I think 3 to 4 times sometimes on average, just to make sure. Is this the absolute best?
Yes.
You know, are we certain there's no more scope here? You know, and just that little bit of extra. You know, it's an extra 2 days, let's say, but you are 20 years in on that home loan. 2 days is not going to make a major difference.
That's a good point.